Welcome to Around the Board, a show where four board game enthusiasts discuss board game topics and news. Today, we start things off with a light discussion about house rules, which should warm us up for another great game debate. After that, we'll be using dynamite to explode some kittens, and we'll round out the show by playing a round of board game parody. Here are your hosts, Daniel Connors, John Theismann, Chris Thomason, and this show's humorist, Andy Barnett. Now join us around the board.
So
I don't know what that was.
Gosh.
You really say you have today.
Humorist,
How you guys doing?
It sounded like something, I don't know, like that.
Yeah.
That was
Hey,
the
look
voice.
what I got today.
What'd you get?
This right here. Deliverance. Can we see that?
Oh, you can barely
Yeah.
see it in the shot.
I don't
Very
think you can see
nice.
it in the shot, can you? Oh no! I gotta pull it out. There you go. Deliverance from Andrew Lowen.
That's the game about pizza, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
No, I think it was about worms, wasn't it?
Oh, don't even go there.
Gosh.
That
Sorry,
was like
that's
one of
not
the worst landing jokes ever. I didn't plan off. Yeah.
Well, when you have worms, Andy, you just gotta roll with it.
Yep, you do.
Speaking of game acquisitions, though,
Uh-huh.
I proved myself as the best one. We've made these Gen Con top 5 lists, right?
Johnny Five.
And I want to announce that I believe I'm the only one here. This shows you how honest my list was. That has already acquired all 5 of my top 5.
Wow.
Thank
Wow,
you.
you're just so
Thank
cool,
you.
man.
That's right.
I was like, that sounds like the not what you want. Like that's like the Daniel Award. And that's
Yeah.
3 of them have been played, so there you go. That's not the Daniel Award.
Daniel Award is he
But-
has all 5 before the con starts.
That's right. I did get 2.
I'm excited because I have new stuff that arrived in the mail.
Well,
this
well,
week.
just speaking of Gen Con, though, real quick.
Oh gosh, here we
Real
go.
quick.
John still got to talk.
Because actually, I think Warren G. Harding put it best. I'm really excited today about a return to normalcy, which is what he promised in 1920, as you all remember in his famous campaign speech. But unlike
Just like it was yesterday,
Warren
John.
G. Harding, I don't mean a
We
return.
weren't
to
all there, John.
I don't mean, however, a return to institutional racism and subjugating women. I mean a return to our normal format. We've had 3 Gen Con episodes in a row, and now aren't you guys excited to get back to a normal show? Doesn't it just kind of feel like you're going back home or something?
Yeah.
I guess not. I guess Andy doesn't think so.
Well,
He
I'm
doesn't
just
know.
wanted to boo
Doing
you.
this show.
That's
That show is terrible.
He says no more show.
No, it's a normal show when I start booing you. So.
That's true. That is true.
Oh, that's fair.
I
But,
don't think the booing ever stopped, actually. Just
Yeah,
I think that's
probably didn't.
consistent.
But
Yes.
I'm excited about what arrived in my mailbox the last couple of days.
Was it that bomb I sent you?
No,
No.
Electric
you
bill.
can't say bomb on a podcast. You can't say bomb on a podcast. Anyway, no, I'm sorry, totally lost my train of thought now. I got a couple games in the mail that came in, actually 3 of them. So we got Wild Tiled West from Dire Wolf. Super excited about that. I got my first play of it in, and it's fun.
Oh, cool.
Kind of reminds me of My City a little bit, but anyway, really, really good stuff. And then I got finally got my Castles of Burgundy Deluxe Royal Super Awesome Kickstarter Edition.
About time.
I haven't opened it yet, but I got
Or-
it finally.
What I like to call Castles of the Burgundy, the miniatures game.
Yes.
True,
Yeah.
but I'm super excited because it is an epic game. And then the other one that I'm super excited about, which you can kind of see, I think, behind me here, is Pampero or Pampero. I think I'm pronouncing it right, but anyway, we got a review copy of that. It's not even out yet. It's not even on Kickstarter yet. It's something that we hopefully will get played at some point here, and I think maybe have the designer of the game on. But it had a big presence at Gen Con, and it looks really cool. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
So,
Chris, you got anything new?
Nope.
On brand.
On brand.
Exactly. Haven't bought anything.
All right. Well, you know why everybody's here, right?
for me.
No, actually, they're here because we want to play a game, and Around the Board is all about debating different topics within tabletop gaming in 4 unique segments. Each hosted by one of us, a behind-the-scenes judge will award points at the end of the show. The contestant with the most points will get to sit on their soap throne, a soapbox that has been elevated in one's mind to ridiculous proportions, and talk for 2 minutes about something. Now, it's time to play said game.
Woo!
Fight!
All right, round one I think goes to me. And
Yeah.
we're talking about we're having a little discussion here. All right, let's have a nice, quiet, easy little discussion about house rules, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
In case you don't know what house rules are, it's when people make up rules to go along with the game. That they call it house rules. Is like, if we're playing that game in my house, this is the way we're going to play it. And it's an attempt sometimes to make a bad game better, or make a better game or a good game a great game. But what really happens when we make house rules and implement house rules? That's what we're going to talk about and go around the board with today. And starting with me, we'll talk about a little bit about house rules, because I'm going to hit the one that everybody knows about. What's the one game that everybody has house rules for?
Free parking.
Thank you. Monopoly. Everybody has house rules for Monopoly. So much so that most people don't know the real rules for Monopoly. And not that it's a good game, but it gets harangued a lot for being a worse game than it is, because people have created house rules to make the game last 8 hours. And I think that's a prime example of why house rules shouldn't be used, because if a game needs house rules just to be playable or just to be enjoyable, then I would rather move on to a different game. And one I have to mention, because my sister, God bless her, got me into the board game hobby by playing Settlers of Catan, as we called it, Settlers back in the day, and we played the heck out of it. I had no idea that I was being taught all wrong rules that were house rules that she played in her house. And just as one example, the robber. Okay, when you roll a 7, for those you don't know, in Catan, you roll a 7 on the robber. Nobody gets any resources. If you have too many resources, you have to give up half of them, and the robber gets placed on somebody, and you get to take another one from them. Or you can play, there is a friendly robber variant, which simply states somebody has to have 3 points before you can put the robber on them. Everybody starts with 2, so it's not really that much of a, so if you have 1 point scored, you can get the robber put on you. My sister played with what I would have to call maybe the gregarious robber rule, because this is beyond friendly, because according to her rule, if you rolled a 7, you just completely ignored it and rolled over again, unless everybody had 3 points or one person has 4 points. Then you just keep rolling. You don't even lose half your cards. You don't move the right. You don't do anything. There's been games where we were out of wheat before the robber was active.
This sounds like Settlers of Communism, not Settlers of Catan.
You're sitting there with these 15 cards, like, well, until I build something, the robber ain't active, so I'm going to hold on to these. So just an example there of, I'm sorry, house rules, do away with them. Not a fan, to put it bluntly. And we'll move on to Old Man Chris here as we send it around the board.
All right. Well, the old man here, I have to say that I'm torn, but I'm going to be more in favor of him than against him. Yes, I agree with everything John says. They ruin it. It makes Monopoly even worse and all those things, correct? But, and just like John said, it seems like the overwhelming reason for these house rules is to make things a little nicer, a little more family friendly. And we all know how much I hate that. So I'm in that regard, I'm against them. But since I am the old man and I have been playing for so long, I started at a time where most of the games sucked. They just did. I hate to admit it, but they were. And so I had this ongoing thing about, me and my friend, we both agreed that we buy a game, we play it, and we're like, there's a great game in there somewhere. It's not the rules as written, but it's in there somewhere. But it's not worth our time to figure it out. Let's just buy another game and play the game that's good, right? But I still have this affinity to want to find that game in there. I even talked about this in one of the episodes that I won, where I vowed that I would come out and come up with new rules for Merchants and Marauders and make that a great game, make a game great again. But I still haven't done it. And also, speaking of Catan, I love the game. It was my first game, and I want to make that game great again as well. So I'm sure I have some ideas, some current mechanics that kind of change things a little bit. And I still want to get it played, but again, these days when you say Catan, people just run the other direction, like, because they're idiots. So hopefully someday I can actually get it played. But yeah, it's back. It's just a tough one to actually really have a hard stance on, because they're good, but they're also bad. But if I got to pick one, I'm against them. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that, but other than personal experience, what you got, Andy?
I'm before we move on to Andy real quick, I'm
that's
remembering
true.
when you were talking about your game of guillotine that you played with Daniel.
Oh, that's right. They played with the wrong rules, right, or something?
Daniel came up with this card that has pretty much stopped the game. Wouldn't that what happened?
I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't?
I mean, I remember we played it, but like,
Yes.
I don't remember it being like a house rule problem or something.
I think they were saying that we found a card in guillotine that was so bad
Yes.
that we probably should house roll and get rid
that
of
you're
it.
like, I'm gonna have to curate this deck a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
I remember that.
No, 100%. Yeah, no, now I know what you're talking about. Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, guillotine's a perfect example. Like, there's some cards that are just like, this shouldn't be in the deck. It needs to be removed for it to be playable. That's true.
All right. I hate to be that guy, but I do talk for a living. John called it guillotine, and then you guys both called it guillotine.
Yes,
so which
they did.
is it?
Are you French or not?
We.
I am part French. Oui.
Anyway,
Guillotine?
Yeah.
I can't wait to try out your variant of Catan, Thomasons of Catan there. That sounds a lot of fun. Probably just sit around and
Settlers
play
of
with cubes.
Catamason.
Ooh.
All right. Well, guys, here's what I think about house rules. I'm going to go on the side of, well, originally I was maybe going to argue in favor of them. I'm actually going to go against them mostly. And the reason is because of a lot of the things that have already been said. Ron brought it up. The classic one is Monopoly. Everybody screws up Monopoly. If you actually play Monopoly by the real rules, it's actually not bad. But everybody screws that up. Everybody just totally just trashes that game with their stupid rules. Another game that was ruined for me, this is a game that's been around for a little while. It's a fun little game called Citadels. And if you haven't played Citadels, the way it works is you are choosing a role each round, and there's 9 different roles to select from, and they do different things, have different powers. And a big part of the game is kind of bluffing and trying to figure out what your opponent's going to do, and if they're going to, psych you out and not do this role instead of this role. Well, I enjoyed that, and I played it with some friends, and then they started playing, and they included the expansion which came with 9 new characters. The expansion explicitly says you play with either these 9 or these 9. You might be able to mix them, but you're still playing with 9. Well, they would play with all 18 of them. And it just throws out the entire point of the game, which was to try and figure out strategically what your opponent was trying to do and bluff and stuff. And it just felt like playing Munchkin or something. It was so stupid. So I've seen house rules ruin games like that. I've seen it in Catan. I played with some guys that were super strict about things like, oh, you might be thinking and you like start to pay for a road and put it down a road. You go, oh no, I don't want to do that. They're like, nope, laid it, played it. And they would make me, continue my turn, and it was too bad. I'm just out of luck. And so people that are really strict and do that, especially with a game like Catan, and had no grace, that kind of ruined things for me. I will say there is one variant that I have come up with as well. Actually, I guess it was these guys. I've just claimed it as my own. But it was called Battle Boats of Catan, where you actually organize the hexes into different islands, and then you can build these boats that can blow up cities and settlements along the coast, which is kind of interesting. But by and large, house rules, I'm mostly against them because most of the time they're just thrown together willy-nilly. They're not balanced. And, the people who actually make these games do a lot of testing to make sure it's balanced and goodness. So I have a hard time accepting house rules. Now, I will say that there is a whole forum on Board Game Geek for variants of games, and at some point I would like to try that, looking through some of those. But the amount of games we play right now, there's no time to do that. So
yeah, Andy, I think you have PSTD from that lay it played it, because I'm pretty sure you yell at me all the time about, no, you laid it played it, and I stare at you and I move my piece back.
Well, you do the opposite. So there should be grace when it's still your turn, but you like to go back like 3 or 4 turns, and you're like, "Oh, I meant to do this half an hour ago."
That is slanderous and liable, and
we can't do that.
I disagree.
It's a slight exaggeration.
What do you think about house rules, Daniel?
I am appropriately. I temper that appropriately. Anyways, what I think about house rules is that they are garbage, and I'm sorry that we were all agreeing on that. We had agreed initially that we were going to do half and half, but apparently we house ruled this game, and we all decided to agree that house rules suck. Because this is
we
what
can
you
still make fun of each other, and that's fine.
No, that's fine. What you should do with a game that you need a house rule with is just throw away. These games I actually like, but that's what you need to do with them, because you will truly ruin a game experience if you house rule it, and also if you have to house rule it to make it be a good game. It's not a good game. It's not worth it. I have 1,000 games here. Just pick a new one. Why spend the time and the energy to make a house rule for a game? And every time somebody is like, yeah, I got a house rule for this, it's going to make it better. Oh my gosh. It's like they have fun, but nobody else. There is a person in our group who really likes one specific game. And he would always tell people, like, you start the game with 5 cards. And I was like, but why 5? And he's like, it's 4. He goes, well, I just pick 5 because 5 is better. It's like, what? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Did you play test the game? Did you play this 1,000 times? Do you know better than the designer of the game? No, you don't. Stop changing the rules. It's fine the way it is. Just because you played it twice doesn't make you an expert in the game. So stop trying. It's not going to get better, and just move on to the next game, or stop ruining that game. Also, the only time I've really, I shouldn't say that. And if you ever play with a kid that house rules a game, I will tell you, these games never end. My son, he would love to play with the games. And he was like, hey, can we play with my rules now? And I'll be like, sure, because I don't want to squash his creativity. But oh my gosh, if you play a house ruled kid game, they never end. I finally had to tell him, like, we're playing like Dungeons and Dragons. And he's like, okay, you got to go to this dungeon now. Now this dungeon. And I was like, okay, Brendan, how does this game end? We've been playing 2 hours. And he's like, okay, fine. Here's a guy. Beat him. I'm like, thank you. But all house rules feel like that.
I will say, Daniel, just because I want to disagree with you, that not all house rules are bad. It's just that I think that too many people willy-nilly come up with them, and I think they need to be tested. And I'm not going to go quite to your extreme, because your extreme bothers me. When I just pick another game, I've got 1,000 of them. You know, not everybody's as ridiculous as you.
Well, they should be. Yeah. Okay. Well, there is one exception. I guess I have one rule, and that is Catan, Carcassonne. Like, I will let you, I like Tom Vassel's variant where you draw 3 tiles and decide which one to play instead of just picking one and being forced to pick with that one. So sometimes, but it has to be from a credible source. It has to be somebody who really knows their stuff.
Must be ordained.
Must be ordained.
I disagree with that one. So with Carcassonne, it's real easy. The only rule I break there is that I do allow people to draw their tiles early, especially if you have a high player count. So that way they can be thinking about what they're doing ahead of time, because otherwise it just takes forever.
Yeah, there is that special rule. I will give you that too. Anything that says, hey, do this at the start of your turn. No, do it at the freaking end of your turn.
As long as, and there is a caveat there, as long as you're not using your information to influence someone else's decision, because then it is cheating.
Yeah, Andy.
So what do you think out there? Are you pro house rules like Daniel and Andy seem to be, or are you against them like Chris? Let us know in the comments. What games do you house rule? Do you house rule games, or should there be house rules? Let us know.
No.
And also, feel free to like and subscribe.
Fight! Sorry, a little quick on the draw there, John, but let's get into the great game debate. So yeah, in this segment, we take a look at board games of the past and see if that game still holds up to today's standards. And the great game Keyflower is what we're going to talk about today. And to give us a little intro, here is my friend Andy.
In Keyflower, you and your opponents are building your own tableaus in front of yourself via hexes that you will bid on throughout a round. You do so by taking meeples from behind your screen and placing them out here when you would bid on them. Let's say this tile here is up for bid. If I wanted to do it and I'm playing this opponent over here, if there's just 2 of us, we would just pick a side. So this would be my side, this would be their side. I'll say I'm going to bid 1 yellow meeple. In order to outbid me, they would need to put 2 yellow meeples here and then can outbid me. They cannot do so with a different colored meeple like a red, because this has been set as yellow. Whoever wins that hex at the end of the round will then be able to add it to their tableau. Also, when hexes are out here, you can also use the action for the hex while it's out there. Again, if yellow has been set as the color, you could then use yellow and put it on here to take the action. In this case, you would get 2 black resources, which I believe are coal or oil. I don't remember. Anyway, you would get those and they would go to your home spot here on your board in your tableau. Once the bid is won, every meeple that's on there also comes with you, and you get to put that back behind your screen. At the end of each round, you bid on these different boats that can be contained with other meeples that you can replenish your meeple supply back here. You can also play throughout the round on your tableau to do different actions, or on your opponent's tableau. The downside of playing on your opponent's tableau is that they will get to take those meeples at the end of the round that you played and put them behind their screen. So it's a game of worker placement, hex building, and it's a lot of fun. I really recommend checking out Keyflower.
We've all had a chance to play this game at least once. I've played it many, many times. I'm sure Daniel has played it many, many times. I think Chris has played it multiple times. I know John has only played it maybe once. But regardless, I'm going to give you my thoughts and how they are better than everybody else's thoughts right now. Okay? Keyflower. What's not to love about this game? It's amazing. It's got colored wooden meeples. It has hexes. It has an agrarian theme. It's got resource management. It's got bidding. It's got worker placement. It's a classic Euro. It has just enough complexity to make you work for it, and there's just enough interactivity with the outbidding people and taking actions on their tableaus and trying to thwart things they're trying to do that it just makes it really fun. It really itches that perfect spot for me in gaming. It epitomizes what I like in a Euro game. So I have very few problems with Keyflower. I enjoy it quite a bit. I will say if there are any downsides, and I try to come up with a few just in case, I would say that new people who are not as familiar with the iconography, that might be a little bit of a learning curve. You do have to look at everybody's tableaus, and so if you've got a lot of people playing, there's a lot of stuff to look at. And I will say that it doesn't play the best with its max players. I mean, one of the things that I do like about it is that you can technically play 6 players, but you don't ever really want to do that. It just takes way too long. In fact, 5 is almost too long. I really think it hits the sweet spot at 3 and 4 players. If you're prone to analysis paralysis, this one can hurt you. And I say that as someone who is prone and struggles in this area. But I will say that my analysis paralysis usually pays off. Every time I've taken my time and really thought about things, I almost always win this game.
Hey, Andy, I got a pop quiz for you.
Sure.
Are the gold pieces wilds?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
We've had this. Yeah, Daniel, I'll let you talk about this during your time, but we've had an ongoing miscommunication with the rules. So
Yeah,
Maybe it was a house rule.
No, it wasn't a house rule, but it kind of does like play into that a little bit because we literally like the first time we ever read it, I was like, it's not a wild. But then we like reread it and we're like, hey, it is a wild. So like ever since we play it, we have the conversation before every game. We go, wait, golds are wilds, right? And then we're like, no, they're not wilds. And then halfway through the game, we're like, yeah, they're wilds. And then the new people always go, seriously? And we're just like, gosh, how do we misread the rule book every time? But I will tell you guys this. I love this game. It's one of my top 10 games of all time. The Keyflower is the epitome of games that I enjoy. Crunchy Euro
Decisions?
yeah, whatever. It's a crunchy Euro that I like, and it's the epitome of that. So I love when you're playing a game that you're trying to think about what your opponents are going to do. And with the auction mechanic of this, it does that perfectly. You have different colored meeples that you're holding behind your screen. So you're like, oh, I might have like 10 red. So you might like just put 1 red at a time, setting that color into place, knowing that Andy has fewer reds. And as I see him putting out more reds, I suddenly can decide, okay, now's my time to leap. And I'm going to put down 3 reds. And then Chris is like, boom, 4 reds, suck on. And I'm like, no, because I'm all out of reds. It's a really great game where you're always trying to figure out what the other players have, what's behind their screen. And you always have an idea of what there is because it's complete knowledge when the game, between each round, because you're going to have meeples on the tiles in front of you and meeples on the boats. So you know what the players got behind their screens. So you can always be like, oh, well, Chris has less yellow. So if he's going to go yellow here, then I know I can go, yellow somewhere here, and he can't outbid me because he's played all of his yellows. This is the greatest game for that. Also, it has that auction, which all auctions are just great. So you're always trying to think how much something is worth and when you should pounce. And I do have to mention that this game, I have to strongly disagree with Andy that this game is incredible at 6 players. It is one of the best 6-player games. If somebody asked me to make a list of top 10 games at 6 players, this is going to be number 1 because it gives you all the experiences that you want in a good, deep game, and you can play it with any number of people. And the only reason Andy doesn't like it is because when we played 6 players, we discovered what Andy time truly is. I literally timed it. It took 5 people 1.5 minutes to take their turn collectively and it took Andy 3.5 minutes. That, people, is what we call Andy time.
Who won the game? Who won the game?
You know who didn't win the game? Everyone who had to wait for you to take your ridiculously long turns.
But I did win.
Doesn't matter. But you lost, sir, because now Andy time is a thing.
Win the game, lose friends. That's how it works.
Call Monopoly.
I should make that a t-shirt.
There you go. Okay, so Keyflower. Yes, I've only played it once, as was rumored. And I played it with Dan Connors and Dr. Marsh. So a friend of ours who's a very good gamer. So very good competition. And like Andy, I did win. But didn't really enjoy the game that much, to be honest with you. And I think I know it gets old sometimes, me harping on theme, but why they had to cram this kind of mechanisms into this pioneering theme where it really seems to make no sense to me, where you're bidding with people and the tiles are ugly, and why you're able to use someone else's cart without them letting you use their cart that they bought and put in their village makes no sense. If this would have been the bidding and everything, where sometimes you want to not win the thing, you just want to use it, reminds me of Furnace. And if this had an industrial theme and like Chris likes the black-hearted, coming at you theme like that, and had some really cool looking tiles with some industrial buildings and stuff like that on that did things that other than get some stone, get some wood, oh, come on, seriously, and drag it with a horse. That's amazing. If it was a cool industrial theme with similar mechanics and you're not bidding with people, I mean, that makes no sense. Then I think I could get behind this game and really enjoy it. But as it is, it's not attractive, and there's a complete disconnect between the theme and all the mechanics. But the cool thing about it is those player shields look really cool. I'll tell you that. You got a house to put your people in, and it looks like a house. So in that, it looks
player shields are the worst part of the game. They're made of
player shields are the best part of the game. Are you kidding me? They even work. They have a top.
You're an idiot, and here's why. Listen. You also said people could just use your tableau and use your cart with no penalty.
I didn't say with no penalty. I said without permission.
You get to keep their meeple. It's worth it. You want them to use your stuff.
Not always. Not when you need to move something and build something up. They took it from me already. Gosh dang it.
Well, then you got to prepare for it. If
exactly.
You're going to take your stuff, you got to play it on.
If it
John prefers non-strategy games.
If it have a black-hearted theme of industrial revolution that would make sense. You're stealing secrets from somebody. You're doing something like that. No, it's my horse and my freaking cart. How can somebody just come and use it?
And of course you would bid with people. They're the greatest resources we have on the earth. People.
In the old days, John.
Everything should be bid.
In the old days, there was slaves. Is that what you're in favor of, Andy? Is that what you're about to say?
I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about in the old days, you would help your neighbor out and hey, could I use your horse and cart? Well, sure, buddy. Just give me a meeple.
You just
give me one of your kids.
Boy,
I think that conversation probably happened.
No. Give me one of your red kids.
See, now why do you got to make it about color, John?
That's what you do in this game.
I do like that green are the best, though. Green are the best people in this.
That is true.
That is true.
All right. Well, Chris, what about you, man?
You know what? I'm just going to tell you, I love this game.
What?
I love this game. And you know why I love this game?
Because it's old.
Because it proves that Daniel is a two-faced, unequivocal, unabashed liar. He talks all this mess about old games, bad art, and well executed, good logistics within a game, and everything about this game is the exact opposite. I am ashamed to call this an old man game. It is so bad. The art, again, I don't care about art, and it's terrible. And then the logistics, and I don't know if you're watching the show and not on the podcast. If you're on the podcast, go to YouTube, check us out, watch it. Roll back to while Daniel's talking to the moment that he says this game sings at 6 players. My eyes become dollar signs, or not dollar, like plates, dollars, silver dollars, because There is nothing worse and more confusing logistically I have ever played in board games than this game at 6 players. With the way that the bidding works, and you put your meeples around the 8,000 tiles that are in the center, and then in addition, you need to see everyone's board around the table so you can play off of theirs, which is what you're supposed to do, but that's insane, and what all it leads to is Andy taking 3.5 minutes. You know why we took a minute and a half? Because we just played on the tiles in front of us because it was impossible to see the other ones. This game is trash. Like, seriously, I really hate this game. I don't understand why it's so highly rated. It's really bad, people. It's really bad.
It's a thinking man's game, Chris.
It's so bad.
It's a thinking man's game, and you have to, you know what? You have to sometimes get out of your seat a little bit and go,
walk around. Yeah, let's just take a walk while we're playing the game.
You don't have to walk around. You have to pay attention while other people are playing. You have to know that that tile is out there. And when you see it, you're like, oh, that's going to be a really good tile. I need to make sure I play on it before Chris. Because if I do, I can actually screw Chris over because he's like, I was going to play my blue meeple there, but you put your yellow. And then it's a satisfying experience. And just because you don't know what tiles out there doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means you don't know the game well enough.
And I'm sorry, I decided to play a Euro game, not a copy of Memory.
No.
My bad.
And it doesn't look that bad, especially when you get the upgrades. Daniel's got these lovely bags for the seasons that are.
That's true. I got nice little silk bags and big chunky chips, and those tiles look nice. What are you talking about?
If you pay extra,
John?
the game doesn't look as bad. That's what I heard.
No. The tiles are perfectly fine. They're so fine that my kids love this game. They don't play it by the rules. They literally just play with the tiles. I'm like, hey, why don't you play with these Dungeons and Dragon tiles? And they're like, no. I want to play with Keyflower tiles. You know why? Because they come to life. And they even bring the imagination of children.
Oh, well.
This is not exaggeration, guys. This is true.
This might have to come back up again because I feel like we still have a lot to say about this wonderful game, Keyflower. If you've enjoyed this, please be sure and like and subscribe and sound off in the comments. What are your thoughts on Keyflower?
And let us know how horribly wrong Chris is.
Absolutely.
It's offensively wrong.
Is it worthy of the great game debate? Please tell us and share it with us, and we look forward to reading your comments soon. But you know what we have to do now, guys? We have to take a little break.
We'll return after these messages.
What do you do with the meeples?
I like to play around with them.
Do they fight?
I think so.
Or do they bounce from one tile to the other? Do they race?
I have no idea because the last time I messed around with Keyflower, it's been a long time ago. You got black stuff I don't know the name of. So yeah, I think that's good.
Oh boy, I can't wait. I have some wood. Would anyone like to trade something for me for some wood?
Me.
Oh, wood. What would you trade? What would you trade? I have 4 pieces of wood.
My chainsaw.
Brendan, what do you think of Keyflower?
Well, I think it's pretty fun.
How do you play it?
I grab the meeples and the lands and the ships and kind of finding a treasure.
Can you show us?
Thanks. Soldier, Captain, you gotta help. There's a war about to happen, and everyone's gonna die if you don't do something about it. You're gonna have to come soon. Quick! Otherwise, we're all gonna die. And it's gonna be your fault.
Would you like to play a game?
Shall we play a game?
Okay, let's play the game.
All right, we're back. And Chris, I have no idea what this is about, but it's your show, buddy.
Oh, it's time, people. It's time. Finally. You may have come here thinking we were playing X-ploding Kittens. No. We're getting rid of those little devils. Come here, Fluffy. Come here.
Wait, guys, hold on.
Here.
Hold on. I'm getting a message from the producer.
Glad to see you got my message. Here is your random task. Every great gamer has a nemesis, a game or type of game that is the antithesis of who they are and what they you stand for. Identify it and prove to yourself and the other members around the board you are better for not having it in your life.
Random task. Show them what you do.
It's a random task.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. Well, this ought to work. Hey, I'm so much faster than you guys. That's crazy.
I know.
Got it.
I got third, I think.
Why do they call me Speedy Andy?
We got points for how quick, right?
Guess we'll find out.
Well, I had to really dig for mine. It was buried.
Oh, that makes sense.
I had to dust it off even.
Well, Chris, you want to take us to yours first?
All right. So, again, this game is supposed to be the game that is the antithesis of you. I think very quickly you will see. I don't even need to say any words if I just show you the game.
Ticket to Ride Junior.
Correct. So we all know how I feel about Ticket to Ride. We all know how I feel about family games. And this is where this one specifically, it's a family game, which I think is for children, and it's a family game for children. So it's like the children version. For
your grandkids.
Yeah, it's for the grandkids. There it is. That's what I like. But yeah, I mean, it's so shameful. Like literally, when we were talking about, hey, what should we do for this random task? Or like that first thing I was like, well, it's this game. There's no way around it. There's no game that is less to me than this one. But the boy, I love the boy, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do for the boy. So he's actually grown out of this game now. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, for those who are interested in this game, I guess you can get it if you really want to. But I feel like just buy one of the short ones, like the Europe or New York or whatever, because the whole thing this is basically just shorter. And then there's some like slight rules they take out, but it just makes the game even worse because, as we know, it's cards or cards. So I don't know why we need to dumbfound it even more or make it pare it down. So if you are interested in this for the purposes of the grandkids, just get like New York or Europe and then just play that, because that's basically what this is. But yeah, that's definitely this game, and it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, to add to that, Chris, my youngest loves trains and he loves the USA, like the maps and stuff. Ooh. He sat down and played this game. He's like, I'm out.
That's funny.
I was like, well, okay, well, it's worth a try.
Yeah. So we got some new plays with it. It was actually probably the real first game that he played. And actually we really sat down and played as a family. So it got its worth. And again, like I said, I love the boy, so it was fine. But again, for everyone else, just get like New York or Europe or whatever it's called.
So that's basically the difference is it's just shorter.
Yeah, exactly. They're just shorter maps and they play shorter. I mean, so does this. Like, that's basically the difference. And okay, so since we're talking about one thing that actually is fairly clever about it is, so in case you can't read, because again, it's for the grandkids, the cards just have like the pictures, like there's an emblem of each of the cities, and the card has the emblem on it, makes it very clear. So there is some upside for the grandkids, so to speak. But really, just like I said, just get the shorter ones.
Okay.
I like how you said, I love the kid, like consigned to that by obligation, by contract. Yeah. But
correct.
I mean, it's true.
I don't know why you find this hilarious.
Well, anyway. So no, I didn't take enough time. I was too fast. I couldn't find what I needed, and so I was. You'd think I'd go find a co-op, right? So I was trying to find one, and I don't have hardly any co-ops. So I couldn't find the Grizzled, which is actually a decent co-op. But yeah, anyway, then I was looking around and tried to find what did I try to find the next? Forbidden Island. I've got that somewhere, but I couldn't find it either. So I just grabbed the next best thing, and that was I grabbed Calico of all things, and. Really, you would think this would actually, the mechanics and stuff are fine. It's all right, but I hate cats. I hate cats. I hate cat fur. I hate.
You were looking forward to this category of exploding kittens.
Yeah, I did actually. Disappointed like me.
And it was on my mind because it was exploding kittens or exploding kittens. So I guess maybe that's what naturally drew me to this game. It's not a bad game. It's fine. There's other games that have that abstract polyomino. Well, it's not polyomino. It's matching and set collection feel. It's not a bad game, but it's the theme does nothing for me. And yeah, I guess if I was looking at my shelf real fast, this was like, yeah, why do I own that?
I know why, because someone said it was good, and you're like, well, I guess I got to own it.
Actually, I think it was a gift.
Oh, okay.
I hope whoever got it for me didn't watch the show.
It was your wife then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so now you guys understand when I made that joke earlier about Andy getting the bomb I sent him. I kind of thought this was about exploding kittens. So
gotcha.
be on lookout for that, Andy. My bad.
Don't go home.
Don't go home. So yeah, my game that I picked. So if you guys had to think about one game that would be the anti of what I like, one theme, one type. John, what is it?
Keyflower.
What? DC. Oh, that would have been a good one, but not quite. Instead, it's spelling games.
Oh yes.
I actually have this game in my collection and I enjoy it. Also, it's mass market. It's spelling and I enjoy it. And that's
Scrabble.
Okay. I actually have this in my collection.
Yeah.
Scrabble, I like to play with my mom. Also, I know some people are like, but it's weird because all you have to do is play on the ×3 and then you win. Yeah, that's the point. It's not about like who's the best speller. It's how do you leverage the weird little word that you have that's worth 5 points and get it on the triple score. Like that's what this game's about. That's fun. That's entertaining. So yeah, Scrabble. Also, I did want to point out it was a toss-up between Scrabble and another one that's a little bit more gamer related, and that was The Crew. I am not a big fan of trick-taking games. I am an Omni gamer. It was really hard for me to really think about what game was in here because I have heavy Euros, I have Ameritrash, I have 5-hour games, I have 10-minute games. But trick-taking games, this is probably the only one I own, and I only play it with my wife's family because trick-taking is just it doesn't click in my head. It's hard. I don't know why. But Scrabble is my official one. The freebie is the freebie.
You used to own Letter Jam, didn't you?
No. I played that at Origins one year, and I was like, this is literally like it was a fun experience and fun time.
It was your kryptonite.
It made me feel like I was the dumbest person in the convention. I was like, I cannot play this game.
Scrabble there, it reminds me of my parents. Once they got all the kids out of the house, I'm the youngest of 8 kids. Once they got us all out of the house, they played competitive Scrabble against each other like ferociously, and they kept track of scores and all this and how winning streaks and all this. And I would come back as an adult and play with them, and it'd always be like, oh, well, you got to go take a turn after John, of course you're gonna win. I'm like, I don't think I'm that bad. Like,
hey,
setting them up.
I
would not know it and be setting them up for these big scores sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that over there. But yeah, it was hilarious, man. They played that thing ferociously. It was great.
That's awesome.
Oh, but going to mine. Now I'm in the big square. During the Keyflower debate, I was arguing about the theme of Keyflowers all wrong because I'm a big theme guy. I love theme. I hate abstract games. If I'm play abstract game, I'm play chess. Why wouldn't I? But believe it or not, this game is in my collection. Azul Summer Pavilion. You don't get more abstract than Azul games. And it's only in my collection because I won it at a game night one night and wasn't that happy about it. But I was like, hey, it's supposed to be good. I'll take it home. We'll play it with the wife and she loves it. So it's gotten played a few times. I tell you, if it wasn't such high quality production, as you can hear it rolling around in there, this game would be unplayable. I'm sorry. It's just, there's just, I know it's got some neat decisions to make or whatever. I don't know. There's just nothing to it other than placing little doodads. That just doesn't do it for me. That's just not me as a gamer. I can't do the abstract, man. Way too abstract for me, but somehow it's in my collection. It gets played once in a while.
Yeah, John, I gotta admit, like it's kind of on point with the thing here because it's gonna be not on brand at all. Like I gotta admit, Azul, if it was just tiles and not like the actual like plastic little clacky things, I don't think the game would have made it. Like it is a great game, but like there is something true about like the actual like the gratifyingness of those tiles, of those little plastic tiles that you actually put on the board. So I honestly never really thought of it before. It is a great game, but I don't think it would have made as much hay as it does. I don't think it would have gotten as much play if it wasn't for it. If it was just regular tiles.
It's very satisfying clacking those things together. And I am kind of upset though, because I ordered actually, since I have it anyway, they had the overlays for the board on sale for like $2 on Miniature Market. And so I threw those in my holds. And then when I had my holds shipped, we ran out of those. And I'm like,
oh no.
I want to do that Seinfeld bit. I'm like, but the hold is supposed to keep it
You know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
I don't think you do.
What I'm going to take away from this is that these are simple-minded folk, Daniel, Chris, and John, because they like clacky things and doodads. So if you get clacky things and doodads, well, you make their game just great.
I know. Look at these people always caring about what the game looks like and stuff.
Exactly.
It's all about the mechanics, baby.
That's Chris all the time.
I will give you credit. Azul Summer Pavilion is the only Azul worth owning. I think it's the best one.
Azul is great. The first Azul is wonderful. It is one of the most aggressive.
Garbage.
And
none of them are great, but that one's
has no replayability. The first one has no replayability.
No, it's called play with different people then, because you're playing against people who doesn't know how to play. That's the replayability.
You're playing against people who don't know how to play. That's
right. But you know what?
Well, you tell us what you think. Were these games antithesis of what you think we were, guys?
We do want to know what the audience thinks, but what we really want to know is what does our producer Randy thinks? He's going to award us points based on who has the best game, which is Scrabble, and who has the worst game, which is probably one of those three people in the other squares. All right, so Randy, tell us who is in third place.
Oh, pick the guy who did it for the family, for the boy.
All right, Andy gets third.
Yay, for my dislike of cats.
Still in the running. All right, who got second?
Wow.
Come on, for the family, for the family.
Chris got second.
It's Daniel with Scrabble.
Yes.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yes, because it's anti everything I am. Mass market, word games, playing with my mom. It's all there.
Playing with my mom.
Oh.
Well,
all right. Well, guys, who of you play with your mom? Let us know what's your antithesis, like Andy said. What's your game and what do you thought? And most of all, like, share, and subscribe.
Round 4, fight! This is Board Game Parody.
Hey, so this is a new and original segment that is totally not Jeopardy. And in this segment, the player who is currently in last place, that's John, will go first and pick a category. We each will buzz in. If we think we know the correct answer, we gain points if we get the answer right. But if we get it wrong, we're going to lose points. So can John finally come back from the depths of oblivion? My guess is no. But let's find out.
Guess we'll find out.
This is Board Game Parody. All right, so we're going to take a look at the categories. We got potent potables. Board game slogans. Monopoly. Random tasks. And card games. All right, John, you are in last place. So what are you going to go with?
Well, let's take board game slogans for one there, Randy.
Got my buzzer out.
This board game slogan is the classic naval combat game, The Voice.
What is Battleship?
That is correct.
How does Captain Sonar?
Captain Sonar.
Slogan is you sank my battleship, but go on.
Well, now Andy gets to pick.
I know.
All right, well, let's go back to the board here. Alex or Randix, whatever your name is.
Whether you are.
His name is Randix, actually.
I'm going to go big here. Let's go card games for 3, please.
Woo!
You brave.
Card games 3. There are this many cards in a standard deck of Uno.
Oh,
The Voice.
What is 72?
That is incorrect.
I think that, sucker. I'm so afraid to buzz. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to buzz. I'm going to say 40, 2, 4, 6, 8, 58. 58.
Incorrect.
No one can know
what is.
It would also be what is. What is?
Who is?
All right, with nobody else answering, the correct answer is 108.
Wow. That's a lot.
I was this close.
Andy, you're still in control.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to go to Monopoly for 3, please.
Statistically speaking, this space is landed on more than any other space. Oasis.
I'm gonna say Indiana. The red ones. The red ones.
That is incorrect.
That's multiple spaces.
Yeah.
You're multiple spaces.
Trying to buzz in.
Jungle Jack.
What is Go?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Whoa. How is it not like the 7th spot from Go?
Because so many things tell you to advance to Go.
Okay, that's fair. Because I was trying to think like, what is the 7th spot? Is it community chess or chance or something? But I guess that makes sense. So many things put you on Go. Okay. Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you. Why don't we stay there? Monopoly for 2, please.
In the original version, this is the number of properties available at the start of the game.
A point of order: are we making sure we are talking about Monopoly and not the landlord's game?
Yes, it's Monopoly, fool.
Okay, sure.
I didn't know it ever changed.
What if nobody buzzes?
Oasis.
What is Reiner Knizia?
That is incorrect. Please remember, you're
Who is?
losing points.
Who is
you
right?
get it wrong.
I don't think any of us are willing to try this evening.
Okay, with nobody else buzzing in, the correct answer is 28.
Oh,
I was close.
You are.
Jungle Jack, back to you.
How about board game slogans for 2?
Board game slogans for 2. This board game slogan is the game of sweet revenge. Oasis.
What is sorry?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Oh, glad I didn't buzz in before you then.
The Voice.
What is trouble?
That is also incorrect.
Man.
Chris, you should buzz in.
Jungle Jack, you were third to buzz in.
I rescinded my buzz.
Can't do that.
I
Can't do it.
Can.
don't believe
I didn't
you
get
can
in.
Once you buzz, baby.
Oh, I lost to Daniel.
Well, please make a guess, John.
Jeez, what's the other ones like that?
That is incorrect.
Yeah. What is life?
What is the other one?
What is life is incorrect.
What's the answer?
The correct answer is Candyland. What is Candyland?
Sweet revenge. Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest. That might be the best part of Candyland. I just found it. Like that single pun is better than every other part combined of Candyland.
I think you're right. Let's finish it up. Board game slogans for 3.
This board game slogan is "Build like a mortal, win like a god." Jungle Jack.
What is Santorini?
That is correct.
Ooh, snap.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
That only got me to 12. Holy crap. Let's go back to Monopoly for 1.
Why? It's so hard.
That's for 1.
In the original game, each player receives this amount of money during game setup.
$200.
The Voice.
What is $1,500?
That's way too much.
$1,500 is correct.
No way.
Ooh, very nice.
Good job.
And control of our board.
All right.
All right, the board is yours.
Well, let's go with random tasks for 2, please.
Random task for 2. In the Dark Tower, the players are trying to recover this item.
The tower.
Oasis.
The dark.
I believe it's keys?
Keys.
Keys.
That is incorrect.
Was that a question?
That's keys to the kingdom.
I believe it's keys. Is that how you did that in the form of a question?
I'm just really excited because I think we're finally going to have somebody with negative points here because Daniel's going to win.
Can't win if you don't play,
And then-
right, Chris?
Can't win if you don't
Chris
put
is
it in the
just
form of a
not
question.
No, I'm winning because I ain't playing.
Exactly.
I feel like we need to change this up to where you have to click at some point. Everybody has to
Yeah.
play.
Anyone else?
Nope, not familiar with that one.
Nope, not familiar.
Okay, the correct answer is, what is a magic scepter?
Okay. I've
Could've
been
guessed
wanting to
that.
play that new updated version. I just haven't had a chance to get to the table.
Well, I guess it's
Andy,
still
I think
my
too.
board.
Yep.
So I'll go with random task for 1, please.
The 4 X's in 4X games represent these. Oasis.
Yeah, this one I know, guys. Explore, expand, exterminate, and I always forget the last one. Explore,
me too.
expand, exterminate, and exploit. Exploit,
I think that's it.
exterminate,
That is
X-Men.
Did you put it in the form of a question?
Nope. He loses.
No.
correct.
Right.
Hey, I was right. See, he said correct.
All right, Oasis.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I'm going to go with random tasks for 3.
This board game was the first non-coffee product to be served in the Starbucks chain.
What would they have put in a Starbucks chain?
The Voice.
Cribbage?
What is the Settlers of Catan?
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Oasis.
What is Wingspan?
That is incorrect.
What would they have put in there? It's got to be an odd game like that.
John and Chris, you pansies, play.
I have no clue.
I don't think Chris has tried one time this whole
I have.
thing.
It's the difference between winning and losing, John, Andy.
No
Ridiculous.
No.
Okay. The correct answer is, what is cranium?
Really? Of all things.
Okay, all right.
Seems a little loud for a coffee shop, but whatever.
It does.
All right. Well, it's me again. I'm going to do card games for 2.
This card game was based off another game called Gavitt's Stock Exchange, invented in 1903 by Harry E. Gavitt of Topeka, Kansas.
Interesting.
Oasis.
What is Pit?
Oh, yeah.
That is correct.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I was sitting here and thinking, because I said it's better than Pitt about the Starbucks thing. And then in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'd be like, what if Pitt is the answer to the next game?
Oh,
next card
funny.
game? And then I just didn't have the. Oh man.
And then you didn't buzz in.
All right, Chris, if you're gonna win this one, you actually have to answer here.
Well, that would just tie with John, but it's fair.
We'll give it to you if you get it right. All right, let's get it. Card games for 1. Go.
Card games for 1. In a game of Dominion, 10 kingdom cards are used, but this many kingdom cards come in the base game.
15.
The Voice.
What is 30?
That is incorrect.
16.
Oasis.
What is 25?
That is correct.
Ah, good job, Daniel.
I think I'm the true winner for not going into the negatives.
I want to know,
Daniel.
did Chris buzz in one
I don't know if
time?
he ever buzzed in.
I did.
Oh,
It was like on the first question, and I was like late, and so I was like, oh, well.
I gotcha.
And this is wow, Chris. The strategy almost paid off. But you know what? I'm the true winner because I actually tried. But you know what? Doesn't matter who the true winner is. Actual winner is John at 15 points.
It's pretty good.
John, what do you want to talk about?
Well, you know what? I actually do have something a little bit planned here. And Daniel is usually our king of the sappy wrap-up comments, but I'm going to have my own this time because I'm waiting for me to be in the square, though, because I don't want to waste this until there we go. I gotta get my glory at least. I got to have my glory anyhow. But I had said this is our first return to normalcy, our first episode after doing all our 3 Gen Con episodes. But we're still going to talk about Gen Con. It's going to come up a lot, I'm sure. And I do want to mention it's pretty cool when you go to Gen Con because it sounds odd and weird for me to say something like this if you know me, but the variation of people there that all seem so unified in their geekdom, whatever that geekdom is. Nobody is sneered at necessarily or looked down upon because of their geekdom, maybe for other reasons, but not because they're stupidly into something that people would say, why are you doing that? Why do you waste so much time doing that? And it doesn't matter what it is. And these people can come to you and you can strike up a conversation. We met some people in a restaurant we had almost nothing in common with, except for our love of odd things related to Gen Con. And we had a great time, spent a half hour talking to them. And this happens all the time while you're there. And it just seems like people look out for each other. People are like, how many times you leave something behind, you go back, it's always there. Now, some people do run off with whole pallets of card games, but nevertheless, but other than that, the Gen Con experience is really cool just for that, just for the sake of everybody just kind of feeling united, and the feeling of goodwill was really awesome. I just wanted to throw that out there for a Gen Con experience moment. And that's all I got.
John, were you talking about Gen Con or was this Kumbaya Con? Because
here we go.
Oh my gosh, could you just be any cheesier, man?
You know,
Gen Con is about showing up to get the newest hot games, beating the people in line.
Right. Playing games that weren't meant to be played in a tournament setting as a tournament. Let's go.
And I definitely sneered at some
people. I could be
people.
wrong. That was just my take.
I definitely sneered at some stinky people. There were some stinky people that needed sneered at.
Correct. I did pop. I did want to pop in there, but it's the one person talking time. But I did want to pop in there. I was like, oh, except for hygiene.
No, in all seriousness, Gen Con was a lot of fun, even if John was just being a little too sappy about it. So
I know I loved it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
It was good because you weren't there. So you would have ruined it, just like everything, Daniel. I don't even know why I'm talking. What a fun note to end on.
Indeed. Well,
hey, I don't think we're ending yet.
No.
Oh, that's right. We've got something more still.
That's right.
What do we got here? We got something we haven't had in a long time.
That's right.
Something that was promised by Chris, but he always forgets. But not today.
Not today.
What is it?
Some exciting information, in fact.
What is it, Chris?
From the world of Board Game Geek Premier League, it's board game relegation.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm looking forward to the definition of relegation.
Yes. Something we all are trying to understand. But so today I looked at got in the lab and started crunching the numbers and looking at what had fallen off and what had come up. And unfortunately, Mombasa's time has passed.
Ooh.
Oh,
really?
It has fallen off the top 100. It is now dead where it stands, and this is a game that should never be played ever again. However, one thing that I found equally interesting when I was looking at it last time, Heat was one that had bumped something down because it was at spot 100.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's only been a couple of months since we've done this, but Heat has grown or jumped up the charts from 100 to 67.
Holy cow.
That quickly, which is hard to do on the BGG when you're not a terrible Kickstarter game like Blue Faven. But good for Heat, and I'm sorry, Mombasa. It was a good run, but you're now dead to all of us that are in the board game community.
That's not true. Mombasa's a great game.
That's not what the community thinks. It's got to be the new hotness. It's got to be the new hotness.
Screw the community.
Chris, is that all you had for us?
Those were really just the key parts. The Mombasa was the only part that fell off.
I could have sworn I saw Castle Assault way up on the top 100.
Oh, okay. Well, no. So it has dropped so far down. It's the number one on the hotness because everyone's trying to figure out what these guys did with the palette and everything. But Gen Con. But yeah, no. It's. I was also looking at that, and it's like notable games below and above it. I can't remember the notable games below it, but one game is still above it currently at this time of BGG that is higher than Castle. What is it called? Castle
Assault.
Castle Assault is the game Spoons. so good on the Spoons that they're better than a game made by people that are dirty thieves. So.
Yes. Very good.
Well,
allegedly.
Thank you for that.
Allegedly.
Sorry. Allegedly.
It's always good to find out what's going on in the world of BGG.
Yes.
Right.
I want to thank everybody who's joined us today, and thank you for subscribing and liking, and please do so if you have not. All our wonderful viewers out there, we love you tremendously. Remember to tap those buttons. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Around the Board. We have a group there you can interact with us on, and we love reading comments on the air as well. mail@aroundtheboard.net is our email, and feel free to do that because, well, we're checking email. So reach us there, reach us on all the social media, and thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next time around.
I don't got that many cards to throw because I did the like fake water thing of Triple H with the cards earlier, so I might run out here. I don't know.
We all got to play this. You guys would love this game.
We'll find out.
Just grab one.
I actually like hit a key with my cards. That was cool.
It's very doable.